Hey folks, this is a little bit of a late of a weekly check-in, but I just wanted to pop in to let you guys know what we've got going on this week. So let me share my screen and get started. Okay, so we are on week 5. This week we've got a little bit of an extra thing going on. Our first project, the art analysis, is going to be due this week. So I'm just going to kind of talk us through what all we need to kind of like look for and where these things are going to be located at. So the first thing that you've got is to watch Edpuzzles lessons 6 and 7. Those are going to be in our module 3 folder, I believe, or maybe module 4 folder. What module 3? Module 3 folder is where it is. And so we're going to watch the Edpuzzles. We also have a assignment, the time and motion assignment. We have a quiz. And we have our art analysis project. So the art analysis project is connected to the art analysis outline that we did last week. So let me tell you where to put both of those things before you get started. So if we go up here to our modules, we've got our module 3, time and motion, that is due. And here are all the due dates again for the things that are due this week. If we click into module 3, as always, our Edpuzzle folder is right here. Make sure you watch those before you do anything else really this week, unless you're going to work on an art analysis assignment. And here is the time and motion assignment here. So what you're going to do in lesson 6, we talk about how time and motion are like kind of in between elements and principles of design, and sort of what they do for art. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is to watch the TED Talk, Rafiq Anadol's TED Talk. He is a multimedia artist, also a sort of collaborator with a lot of architectural pieces as well. But you'll learn all about that in his video here. So once you watch the video here, and you don't have to watch this one if you don't want to, it's optional. This is his piece that was in the Charlotte airport for a long time. They're doing like a bunch of renovations now, so I don't think that it's there any longer, but hopefully once they get the renovations done, it'll get back to being there. But anyway, this is just an interesting one because it is local to us. But this one here is the one that you need to watch, the Art in the Age of the Machine. It's a TED Talk. So after you watch that video, you're going to write a 400-word minimum analysis of his work, answering the questions in the following format. So here are the questions here. What is the difference between actual texture and visual texture? And which one does Anadol employ in his work, and how does he employ it? So you might need to look back on our previous PowerPoint for that one if you need to. We talk about how he uses the elements of time and motion in his work. So just, very basic, how does he make those work? What do they do for his work? What are his ideas, inspirations, and or concepts that drive the creation of his work? What is the source material or subject matter in his abstract image representations? So the source material, he tells you pretty in depth what that is, but it's not one singular thing every time. It's sort of, well, it kind of is, but it changes piece by piece what the information is. What kinds of technology does he use in the creation of his work? And then lastly, what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence and its use as a tool for creating artwork with? Now, number 6, this is not like drawing with a tablet sort of thing. This is like actual AI creating artwork for us. We've seen a lot of those recently, actually, on the I can't remember what app it is. It's like it's a AI, like, morphing your face with drawings and paintings, and giving sort of like a vibe or whatever for viewer and aesthetic. But that's more so what I mean by this, not like drawing with a tablet. So remember that your response is in paragraph form. Listing and bullet points will not receive credit. However, if you can answer it, that is a little bit confusing. I'm fine if you answer it like question number 1 is yada yada yada. Question number 2 is, but you need to write in full sentences or full paragraphs to answer each of these questions. And this is just a direct submission assignment, so just upload your Word document to the right submission box. Remember, please do not add it as a comment, and also do not add it as a link either. You need to either write in the text box, or you need to upload like a PDF or a Word document. And then the other thing we've got this week, but probably the biggest thing, obviously, is our first project. So our projects folder is at the very bottom. If we go down here, we can click on projects. And we are in project 1, art analysis. So I give you a big rundown of the video here. So if you feel like you need further instructions on the art analysis project, I would really highly encourage really everyone to watch this the project instructions that we see here, and that should give you a good synopsis of what I'm looking for. Essentially, though, the project, though, and just a little bit of a breakdown for what I'm looking for, and I talk about this several times throughout this. I'm looking for you to set up 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is just essentially like a paragraph about the label. So it's just including the name and location of the museum, the title of the artwork, the artist's name, the date, the medium, and the size, and avoid just listing these items. Instead, try to make the information descriptive in an essay form. The second paragraph is just about formal elements and principles. So you're talking to me here about, what elements like color, shape, line are used in this work and how are they organized. So I talk about how the principles are what, if you've watched lessons 7, how the principles are like the recipes that organize the principles. So for example, you could talk about, in Starry Night, for example. I use that one all the time, and you can't use that one for your project. So Starry Night, for example, uses color. Color is one of the things that it uses really well, which is an element. Color is used in Starry Night to show contrast and variety and emphasis. And so it's, we've got the blues and we've got the oranges. They're complementary colors to one another. So when they're used together, there's emphasis that's created because they separate so much. And so we have a lot of emphasis on the stars in the sky because the background is the blue to the orange that separates the two. And the blues are more subdued and pushed back, while the oranges are more bright and like pure hues, essentially. So that's what all I want you to do in the second paragraph is to talk about form. You don't need to talk about meaning. You don't need to talk about content. You're just telling me visually, what am I looking at and how can you apply the formal elements and principles of design to those things in the way that it is organized. I don't want you to just list these. I don't want you to just say like, I see color, shape, and space, and I see variety and emphasis. Tell me how you're seeing those things, like point to specifically where you are seeing that being like part of the organization. The third paragraph is on the subject matter and the content. So here, this is your interpretation, or if you want to do a little bit of outside research, you can do that as well, on what the meaning of the work is. So like Starry Night, for example, the meaning of Starry Night, it's not super complex, really. It's just to depict a beautiful night sky. That's the intention for it, is to create, just a beautiful emphasis on the starry night. That's the intention. And so Van Gogh does things like create, emphasis on the stars by pushing back the blues and bringing up the stars using the elements like color and texture and space. And then your last paragraph, this one is probably, I would say, all 3 of these paragraphs here are very important, but number 4 is where you combine these 2 ideas from paragraphs 2 and 3 about content and form, and you mesh them together. So your last paragraph should consider the main aspects of form, how the image is composed of the formal elements and principles of design that you've described in paragraph 2, and then relate them to the content of the work. So this should summarize how form relates to content and creates unity in a work of art. So for example, there, if I was doing Starry Night, I would then talk about how color creates emphasis on the stars, which then leads us back to the meaning or the content, which is to emphasize a starry night. Now, Starry Night's a pretty like on the nose one. We all kind of know the meaning of that one. We don't need a lot of outside research for it, but you really don't even need to go into much like research about what the meaning of the piece is. It should convey a mood or a feeling based on the formal element choices and formal principle choices. And that should lead you to your meaning, which then can connect you to paragraph 4, where you talk about meaning and content, or meaning and form, and how those 2 relate to one another. So I have here avoid exceeding 600 words. I'm not going to be too picky on that, though. I honestly probably should increase that to about 800 to 1,000 words. But just I don't want a lot of like fluffy information. I want this to be pretty direct and concise and to the point, and not like talking around these ideas. I don't want you to say like, I think this piece is just completely beautiful, and this is why I think that it's just a masterpiece and I love it. Like, I don't want all of that. I want you to talk to me about the elements and principles. I want you to then tell me what the meaning of the work is, and then tell me how those two things connect. Anything else that doesn't feel like it's relating to that or it's on topic to that, don't include it. Just like edit it out. And if you want me to, you can email me your papers and I can give you edits on those. As long as you email me then using like a Google Doc or a Microsoft document that I have editing access to, I can edit those to you and then send them back to you, and you can, see like where I've scratched things out and made comments. I'm happy to do that as many times as you would like to. So please take advantage of that opportunity if you would like. Otherwise, you're just sort of, hoping for the best and hoping that you got it right the first time. So when you go to submit your work, create a document with the following: your chosen image, labeled correctly, the 4 paragraphs as detailed below or above. Do not like go away from these 4 paragraphs. This is how I want you to set this paper up. Don't deviate from it, please. I will take points off if it's just like all over the place and the organization is not clearly laid out like I am telling you to. I'm telling you exactly what I want with these 4 paragraphs. I don't want you to deviate from that and like go off and do 5 or 6 or 7 paragraphs or, just one big paragraph. I want you to stick to this format. Then you need to save your document as a PDF or a Word document and upload it that way. You can upload the file or submit the text in the right submission box. However, I would really prefer if you just saved it as a PDF or a Word document and then uploaded it to the upload files. Don't do a link here. You can send me a link if you're emailing it to me to revise, but for the actual submission, do not send a link to it. I would prefer if you saved the document to your computer and then uploaded it as a PDF. That is the best way for me to view these. So I would prefer if you stick to that, please. But that is all for the art analysis. I pretty much went through everything, but I would still advise you to watch the Project One instructions as well for further clarification on any of these things. But otherwise, that's all that we've got due for today. Again, just as a reminder, please email me your papers if you'd like me to revise them. Just make sure I have editing access to it and I will send it back to you. If it is after 5 p.m. on Friday, I probably won't get back to you with edits for your paper. But otherwise, if it's before then, I will make sure that I get it back to you on a timely manner. But that's it for this week, and I will talk with you guys next week. This is our last unit on our art theory. This sort of summarizes the Project One sort of summarizes all we've done for this, like up until this point, all about evaluating artwork, about the elements, the principles, and really all of our art theory information is summarized in this sort of like midterm assignment, if you will. And if it helps you, the Project One is sort of like a midterm in a way. It's worth 15% of your grade. Just as a reminder, it's a big percentage. So please do not forget to turn this one in. This is a big one. And it does sort of like conclude a section of the course as well. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will talk with you next Monday.